All right, Donald Trump and Elon Musk will begin speaking any moment now, and we will tune in right as they begin speaking. We'll have to give it a few minutes. Let me know if you all can hear me. Make sure you drop a like below. It's going to be very interesting because just earlier today, a bombshell New York Times article described how Elon Musk has been using and abusing drugs rampantly, which we knew, but it was more of like an unspoken, like, how much does it really happen thing. But now we have actual proof. Before that, I want to dig into another story. It's about to start. Just wait. I'll keep an eye on it. Let me know in the chat when it begins to air. Elon Musk and Donald Trump will begin speaking any moment. But first, breaking news, the president does not have it under control. He has nothing under control whatsoever. And if you want proof, you can look no further than his Truth Social account, where he has been relentlessly playing the victim and saying other countries, other people are screwing him over. It's like Schrodinger's authoritarian. He is constantly this very, very strong man who is at the same time the victim of every single court, every single country, every single celebrity. Like Bruce Springsteen somehow affects him a lot. But he sent out a long ranting Truth Social post claiming that China was breaking this preliminary trade deal, which is a deal that hasn't even been cut yet. And here we go.
Fantastic job. He didn't need this. He didn't need it. And we find out government's a little nasty on occasion. Hello, Peter.
Yeah, at times.
Oh, President Trump.
Government's a little bit nasty, Peter. You haven't noticed that. You've had a charmed life, right?
You tell me.
Very charmed. I think you've had a charmed life. I think what I'll do, if you don't mind, numbers have just come out which are rather extraordinary, and I thought I'd play a tape of one of the people who I've respected over the years, from Joe Kiernan and Rick Santelli. This just came out, and we'll just play that for a second.
Personal income is up 0.8%. That is almost triple the expectations. I'll tell you, the income numbers, really, for the first 4 months of the year, they're stellar. They're really stellar. I mean, I could go back and look at the first 4 months of many different years. Really very strong numbers, and you're right. This administration is criticized for just about everything under the sun. I've never, ever in my lifetime had glimpses into the politics of an administration in the form of transparency like this one. Why don't we be, give credit where credit is due? Income really shooting up.
Rick, I also thought everybody was going to get one last order of imports that were going to be tariffed, and they were loading up on things. How the hell did they already fix the trade, or not fix it, but to cut it in half? That's crazy. So there wasn't a lot of front loading of things that they needed before the.
These are just lies, by the way. The GDP contracted during Q1. U.S. ports are currently grappling with on-again, off-again tariffs. Court rulings are confusing both workers and businesses alike. Small businesses are scrambling. Even while they were speaking, like the stock market was dropping. While they were speaking, the stock market was dropping. I shit you not.
1 month.
Not bad. Right? Not bad.
Come on, guys.
Yeah. I see Howard and Scott are here, so it's great. You guys want to stand over here? You might as well. You're the ones that help produce those numbers, and it'll only get better. The tariffs are so important, and that's why we were so happy with the decision yesterday, where the tariffs continue, because without the tariffs, our nation would be imperiled. We would really be imperiled. I think I can say that with great surety, Scott and Howard. And so we were very happy to get that decision, that big decision yesterday. And today it's about a man named Elon, and he's one of the greatest business leaders and innovators the world has ever produced. He stepped forward to put his very great talents into the service of our nation, and we appreciate it. And I just want to say that Elon has worked tirelessly helping lead the most sweeping and consequential government reform program. We changed, and with Elon's guidance, they're helping to detect fraud, slash waste, and modernize broken and outdated systems. So as you know, we're talking about various systems and changing systems. And, sadly, it takes a long time to do that. You'll change, let's say, a system at IRS and computerize it properly where the job can be done in 1/10 the time, but it takes sometimes years to rebuild those systems.
By the way, this is Trump chickening out on the Elon Musk thing as well. Trump always chickens out, and right now he is basically withdrawing Elon Musk from his administration because I'm assuming they got wind of the massive bombshell story that just released, saying that Elon Musk's drug use isn't just a rumor, it's not just occasional, it is rampant, and it affected his day-to-day life, turning him into an erratic and frenetic person. Trump always chickens out. He's chickening out on Elon Musk. Right now, Trump is accusing China of violating trade deals that weren't even signed, so he's chickening it out there.
But we've started, in many cases, I will say that this has less to do with Elon, but the air traffic control systems, we're bidding out to the best companies in the world, those systems right now. They were what the previous administration was horrible what they did. They spent billions and billions of dollars, and in the end, it didn't even come close to working. They tried to hook up wire to copper, and it can't be done. And they just spent billions of dollars and just wasted money. Actually made the system much worse. So we're going to get a brand new modern system. Congress is working with us on that.
How much is it going to cost? Is it part of the $5.3 trillion bill that you're about to pass? You know what's ironic about this all? Elon Musk just days ago was saying that Trump has basically undermined all of his work with DOGE. Now he's standing next to him and saying that DOGE is working?
And we're going to get it done as quickly as we can, but it's in the works. And once it's done, it'll be good for 30 years. But we have a system that's 48 years old and would have a modern computer hooked into a very outdated computer. And they don't hook up. I mean, they didn't hook up. So after spending billions of dollars, they turned on.
There's no clue what any of this means, by the way.
The system, and it in never any cases from local to countrywide, they never worked. More than
I almost don't know what hooking up copper.
75,000 bureaucrats have voluntarily left their taxpayer-funded jobs to come out and really do the job. Countless wasteful and unnecessary contracts have been terminated, and you know that we have terminated many, many contracts, and many contracts, Elon, are right now being looked at, and it may be 6 months, it may be almost a year in some cases. We're going through procedures, we're going through courts, and we'll remember you as we announce billions of dollars of extra waste, fraud, and abuse. $101 million for DEI.
None of this is even true, by the way. When they're talking about the ledger, the only DOGE public ledger was riddled with mistakes. The figures from Elon Musk's team of outsiders represent billions in government cuts. They're also full of accounting errors, outdated data, and other miscalculations. Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency claim they saved like $55 billion, but the math that could back up those checks is marred with accounting errors, incorrect assumptions, outdated data, and other mistakes, according to a New York Times analysis. For example, they had accidentally miscounted billions and billions of dollars multiple times.
Contracts at the Department of Education, $101 million, and that was just a small section of the Department of Education. $59 million for illegal alien hotel rooms in New York City, and the landlord never made the kind of money that he made in the last short period of time. $59 million to a hotel in New York City. $45 million for diversity, equity, and inclusion scholarships in Burma. In Burma, does anyone know about Burma? $42 million.
Look at Elon Musk. Is he drugged out now? He does not look okay. That's me after a big article drops about me doing drugs. Remember, Elon Musk, if you search his name today, it's going to be on the campaign trail. Elon Musk juggled drugs and family drama. You guys have heard about this, right?
For social and behavioral change in Uganda. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. I can say it's $2 billion.
Boom. All the audio's cutting in and out. 1 second.
To Stacey Abrams and her environmental movement. There was $100 in the account, and all of a sudden they found $2 billion in the account. And I assume that's being looked at. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I assume that's being looked at. Think of that, $2 billion. And then Lee will tell you there's another one over there for $20 billion being spent on another environmental.
1 second. No, I'm reading the comments.
20 billion, not 20 million, a lot, not 200,000, which is a lot. So think of it in her case, you have $100, and now all of a sudden she gets hit with an infusion of $2 billion just before I take office. $20 million for Arab Sesame Street in the Middle East. Nobody knows what that's all about. Nobody's been able to find it. $8 million for making mice transgender. So they spend $8 million on making mice transgender. And those are better than many of the others. I could sit here all day and read things just like that, but we have other things to do. So it's much, much more than just that. We're totally committed to making the DOGE cuts permanent and stopping much more of the waste in the months to come. We want to get our great, big, beautiful bill finished and done. After that, we put some of this into the bill, but most of it's going to come later. We're going to have it.
It's all good now. You guys hear how contradictory everything he's saying is. So he basically said in one breath that the big, beautiful bill was going to save everything, but then also they're trying to slash things with DOGE. The big, beautiful bill is going to add 5.3 trillion to the deficit. DOGE maybe saved 150 billion.
Cauterized by Congress, affirmed by Congress. In some cases, we'll make cuts. In some cases, we'll just use it in a different layer to save the money. But it's hundreds of billions of dollars. DOGE has also fully modernized the federal retirement process and continues to work very hard on the IRS modernization. But we're taking that over with DOGE. Many of the DOGE people, Elon, are staying behind too, so they're not leaving. And Elon's really not leaving. He's going to be back and forth, I think. I have a feeling. It's his baby, and I think he's going to be doing a lot of things. But Elon's service to America has been without comparison in modern history. He's already running one of the most innovative car companies in the world. You look at his factories and compare
Try to refresh your page if this sounds bad, because it was fine when I checked.
them with some of the old factories we have, and it's a big difference. And the most successful space company, and I guess in history you would have to say the largest free speech platform on the internet, etc. Yet Elon willingly, with all of the success, he willingly accepted the outrageous abuse and slander and lies and attacks because he does love our country. I know that very much.
He's not even letting Elon talk. Elon sounds like muted. Elon's eyes also look sunken in.
He loves our country. He comes from another country, a country that's going through trials and tribulations, I would say. But he's all about the USA, and Americans owe him a great debt of gratitude. So I just want to thank Elon for his time as a special government employee. Can you imagine? They call him an employee, but it's a special government employee, and for coming and helping us, and he really has changed the mindset of
Oh my God, he doesn't look
a lot
okay.
of people. A lot of people thought, maybe we'll cut 1% or 2% or 3%. Then they said, wow, we can cut a lot more than that. And we're going to do it very surgically. We're going to continue on the march. We're making America great again. When I was in Saudi Arabia, and we were in, as you know, 3 really great countries, predominantly the 3. Qatar was great, UAE was great, Saudi Arabia, incredible. Such an incredible experience to be in those
Elon
3
looks terrible.
countries. But the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, and I must tell you, the great leaders of the other 2 that we just mentioned, they all said the same thing, that the United States is the hottest country right now anywhere in the world. And 6 months ago, we thought it was dead.
Is Elon tweaking out? 1 second. Elon Musk seems to be tweaking out in his goodbye meeting with Donald Trump in the Oval Office. If you can see on the left, his eyes seem to be weirdly sunken. weirdly sunken in. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has ranted for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and has not let Elon Musk get a single word in. Let me show you over here.
The hottest country right now, anywhere in the world. And 6 months ago,
boom, that is Elon Musk doing his neck roll, and the camera pans in, and Trump continues to speak.
we thought it was dead. It was like a dead country, and it would have been a dead country if we didn't have the right result on November 5th. There would have been a horrible, horrible situation was going on with the borders, with trans.
He's bringing up the borders and immigration, but conveniently not allowing Elon Musk to speak. Now, Trump has said multiple contradictory things throughout this. He said, number one, DOGE is going to save the country because it's slashing waste, fraud, and abuse and lowering the debt or whatever. But at the same time, the big, beautiful bill is what he calls it, is going to save the country, even though it's big, ugly, and costly to the American people and to our debt. It's going to raise the debt by $5.3 trillion. His entire ideology is incoherent.
Gender for everyone, men playing in women's sports, and so much more. But they were saying the hottest country anywhere in the world. And then I played that little clip because I was one person who's respected, or two people, because Joe was in that one too. Joe's a good man. And
I'm not even joking. It looks like Elon Musk might have a black eye. Does anyone else see this? Or does it look like Elon Musk might have a black eye here?
And we're doing really well. We came, when I left, we had no wars, we had no problems. We defeated ISIS, we rebuilt our military.
Just to back up, remember, this is off the back of a bombshell article describing how Elon Musk has been juggling drugs and family drama on the campaign trail. Now, I'm not going to read the full thing, but it talks about while he was spending hundreds of millions of dollars to get Trump elected and to consolidate power, his drug consumption went well beyond occasional use. He told people he was taking so much ketamine, a powerful anesthetic, that it was affecting his bladder, a known effect of chronic use. He took ecstasy and psychedelic mushrooms, and he traveled with a daily medication box that held about 20 pills, including ones with the markings of the stimulant Adderall, according to a photo of the box and the people who have seen it. So he had a box of drugs that he would carry around. Did he just get in a fight with someone overnight? Why is Elon Musk's eye black? None of the content of Trump's speech even matters because he's locking Elon Musk out of the conversation strategically.
That was one group of people saying...
Let's skip a little bit and see if he...
when I left, we had no wars, we had no problems, we defeated ISIS, we rebuilt our military.
So he's gone from the border to the wars to bills, but still not allowed Elon Musk to get a damn word in, and that's because they are trying to kick him out. They've said for months that he is a political liability. They basically used and abused him. Now, I'm not going to lie, it was mutually beneficial. While Elon Musk was in this ketamine-fueled mania with his suitcase of drugs like it's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, he was also shoveling money to the Trump campaign, consolidating power, and once they were both in power, 40 different investigations into Elon Musk's companies have been paused, or halted, or slow-walked, which is incredibly, incredibly beneficial for Elon Musk. To continue, at the same time, Musk's family life has grown increasingly tumultuous as the Trump admin continues to push him out.
And we had no inflation. And when I came back, we had a lot of inflation. We had wars all over the place. We had the embarrassment in Afghanistan where we gave up billions and billions of dollars of military equipment.
Okay, then Elon Musk finally gets some words in.
Let me say perhaps a few words that this is not the end of DOGE, but really the beginning. My time as a special government employee necessarily had to end. It was a limited time thing. It's 134 days, I believe, which ends in a few days. So that, it comes with a time limit. But the DOGE team will only grow stronger over time. The DOGE influence will only grow stronger. I'd liken it to sort of Buddhism. It's like a way of life.
He actually sounds rather incoherent for someone who has a clear black eye, for someone who had a bombshell article shredding his drug use and his personal life. I mean, of course, maybe he's sober today, but he didn't actually stutter that much.
This is not the end of DOGE, but really the beginning.
the beginning of Doge and insane corruption? Can I remind you guys one more time? The Doge ledger was absolutely riddled with errors. Everything in the Doge ledger was riddled with accounting errors. You can't trust him to do anything. While all of that was happening, Elon Musk behind the scenes was yelling at Trump administration officials, was doing a bunch of drugs. These aren't rumors. There are photos of Elon Musk's suitcase of drugs. But to continue.
Most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, I believe that strongly. We have Russia with Ukraine. We had the attack on Israel in October, the horrible attack, October 7th. Horrible, horrible attack.
And what have you done, sir? What have you done about any of this? Number one, with Russia and Ukraine, you've allowed Vladimir Putin to gain territory while Elon Musk turns our country into an oligarchy similar to Russia's. So that peace deal has completely fallen through. There was no deal in the first place. You can sit here and yap about no new wars, but India and Pakistan have started fighting. And meanwhile, Elon Musk looks like he's in the cuck chair in the corner. Why is he standing there? I'm sorry, like at some point I'm starting to feel bad. Do you guys feel bad?
He's ever seen anything like it. And now we have something where we're really healing a lot of that. We stopped India and Pakistan.
Why is he just standing? Why is he just standing there? And by the way, if you've made it this far, make sure that you hit the like button below. Make sure you drop a blue heart. Love all of you guys.
I believe that could have turned out into a nuclear disaster. And I want to thank the leaders of India, the leaders of Pakistan, and I want to thank my people also. We talked trade. And we said we can't trade with people that are shooting at each other and potentially using nuclear weapons.
Okay, just lock Elon out of the conversation continually. And you know what's kind of ironic about all of this? Elon Musk only a few days ago went on camera and said that he's disappointed by Trump's big, beautiful bill and what it means for Doge. Like I said earlier, Elon Musk benefits from this bill because it is a massive redistribution of wealth, but in his ketamine-fueled eyes, he says it undermines all of the work Doge has done. Just to back up for 1 second, Doge claimed they were going to save $2 trillion. That's what Elon Musk said before the election. After the election, they said maybe $1 trillion is more realistic. Then they came out and claimed they saved $150 billion. But as I pointed out, the ledger was riddled with error. So this reads, Elon Musk says he's disappointed by Trump's big, beautiful bill and what it means for Doge. He said he's disappointed. He said a bill can't be big and beautiful at the same time. So now they're in the Oval Office. Maybe that's why Elon has a shiner. Maybe that's why Elon Musk has a black eye.
And they're great leaders in those countries, and they understood and they agreed, and that all stopped, and we're stopping others from fighting also, because ultimately.
And then Elon Musk talks about the New York Times article.
The president mentioned that you had to deal with all the slings and arrows during your time at Doge. There's this.
Well, some of the people, some of the media organizations in this room were the slingers.
Well, so there is a New York Times report today that accuses you of blurring the line between.
Is the New York Times, is that the same publication that got a Pulitzer Prize for false reporting on the Russiagate? Is it the same organization?
I got to check my Pulitzer. My Pulitzer
I think
counter.
It is.
I think the judge just ruled against the New York Times for their lies about the Russiagate hoax, and that they might have to give back that Pulitzer Prize. That New York Times. Let's move on.
Okay, then next question. Trump, I got one for you.
Was that supposed to be some sort of badass moment? I don't know. By the way, everything said in the New York Times article about Russia was true. And the judge didn't rule that the Pulitzer Prize has to be given back. That never happened. The judge ruled that the case can proceed. Then Elon Musk turns away, and you see once again that his alien eyes are. He's also wearing his Doge father.
I got one for President Trump.
You know he thought that was so badass. I can almost guarantee you he's gonna post that later on Twitter like it was incredibly badass.
Accuses you of blurring the line between.
Is the New York Times, is that the same publication that got a Pulitzer Prize for false?
No, it's the same publication that just exposed your ass for having 20 pills, including ones with the marking of a stimulant Adderall, according to a photo of a box and people who travel with it. Now, here's the thing. This also alleges that Elon Musk traveled out of the country. Listen to this. He also took ecstasy and psychedelic mushrooms at private gatherings across the United States and at least one other country, according to those who attended events. Meaning Elon Musk, representing us on our behalf, likely took drugs over the border from the United States to other countries to consume them. That means Elon Musk was allegedly drug trafficking, and by that standard, I think we could deport him. By Stephen Miller's standards, if somebody who is not born in the United States is drug trafficking and is trying to tamper with the system, what do you guys think? Is that fair? Let's continue.
We can fight better than anybody. We have the greatest military in the world. We have the greatest leaders in the world. We put one of them in charge of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, as you know, General Raisin Kane. And we wiped out ISIS, completely wiped out ISIS in 3 weeks. They said it would take 5 years, and we did it in 3 weeks.
He continues to ramble to try to divert away from the Elon Musk disaster. Just to continue a little bit more, he took ecstasy and psychedelic mushrooms. There are also texts that leaked. Quote, "There are at least half a dozen initiatives of significance to take me down," he wrote in a text message to someone close to him last May. Quote, "The Biden admin views me as the number 2 threat after Trump." Trump then calls the auto pen the greatest scandal in American history.
Do you think that Dr. Jill Biden should also have to come in and testify about what she did or didn't do?
Well, I hate the concept of it. It's the wife of a man who was going through a lot of problems, and everybody that dealt with him understood that. And I guess it came out during the debate loud and clear. That was the biggest signal of all. They have to do what's right. The country was, there was a lot of dishonesty in the election, as you know, of 2020. That's been now caught. People.
No, who knows that? Who knows that whatsoever? Sorry, folks. Yeah, absolutely wild stuff. To continue with the press conference.
Bureaucracy. It's sort of the frankly, largely uncaring nature of bureaucracy. It's as the great Milton Friedman said, money is spent most poorly when it is someone else's money being spent on people you don't know. And that's how federal spending is. And then you can't really even blame the individuals, because the way the government works is complaint minimization. So when you do try to, when someone within the government tries to stop that money being spent, there's usually someone that complains. And then their manager will say it's not worth the trouble, just pay it anyway. That happens over and over again.
So was it
Mr.
worth
I think it was an important thing.
you.
I think it was a necessary thing, and I think it will have a good effect in the future.
Thank you, President Trump. This week there was a video on board a plane that showed the First Lady of France slapping her husband, Emmanuel Macron. Do you have any world leader to world leader marital advice on those moments?
If you can't hear me, then refresh the stream. I keep checking on my phone, and it sounds completely fine. But I also want to talk to you guys about China really quickly. Because Trump is also now incredibly pissed at China. The questions are incredibly dumb as well. The big question is, why does Elon Musk have a black eye? Yeah, refresh the page if the audio is bad. But really quickly, we do have some breaking news. The President of the United States does not have it under control. He has nothing under control whatsoever, and you can see that by looking at his Truth Social accounts, because he has been relentlessly posting about how every country, every person, every celebrity is attacking him. This dude is like, it's like Schrodinger's authoritarian. He's somehow the strong man who can drop the hammer on all of these countries, but also the weak victim who's just at the whim of Bruce Springsteen and Taylor Swift and the courts and China. We do have real leverage over China, but Trump is too scared to use it, and I can illustrate that by just reading a few of his posts and showing you that he is now basically backing down from the trade deal with China. Now, I'll cover Elon Musk and Donald Trump's meeting in just 1 second, but look at President Trump said China has violated a preliminary trade agreement. It's not even a trade agreement that's been signed by both sides. It's a preliminary trade agreement. Trump hasn't cut any real trade agreements because he can't. This is just whiplash economics that is hurting real people that can't plan business inventory when you don't know if you're going to be paying 30% tariffs or 145% tariffs. So Trump melted down in a Truth Social post and said, quote unquote, "So much for being Mr. Nice Guy, brother. You claimed that you were going at full speed already. Now you're saying you were Mr. Nice Guy?" I mean, this is Trump chickening out. If you just zoom out, when Trump came into office, he immediately placed tariffs on Colombia. Do you remember that? Do you guys remember the Colombia tariffs? Then he removed them same day. Then it was Canada and Mexico. But then he removed them and delayed them. Then it was Liberation Day tariffs that he ended up removing. And now this is a pretext to stop talking trade with China, which is Trump always chickening out. Trump also has had peace deals with Vladimir Putin fall through because he so naively thought that he could get Putin to agree to anything. Putin is a bad faith actor. That is who he is. And Trump thought that due to his personality, he could get Putin to fall in love with him. I don't know. But stock futures immediately fell after Trump's statement. And that's why during the meeting with Elon Musk, Donald Trump pulled out an iPad and tried to begin claiming that, that the stock market was raging. It's not. It's dropping due to the unpredictability of tariffs. But President Donald Trump on Friday said that China has, quote, totally violated its preliminary trade agreement with the United States. By the way, make sure you drop a like. Make sure you drop some tacos or blue hearts or whatever. And just to zoom out, U.S. ports are grappling with on-again, off-again tariffs in a really, really rough way. Whether it's the ports that are confused or the courts that are confusing the ports, it's basically all Trump's fault. Court rulings overturning and then at least temporarily allowing President Trump's tariffs add to the uncertainty disrupting businesses at U.S. ports. And what does this all mean? Just to simplify this, I think the talking point that people should focus on is that it's not even a talking point, it's a reality, but a lot of Democratic politicians, because I know people do watch my content that are in the messaging field or aides, you want to say that the truth, the vast majority of Americans don't even have $500 on hand to cover an emergency. How are they going to pay an extra $5,000 because of Trump's insane inflationary tariffs? That's the simple line. I see a lot of politicians and communicators getting caught up in the global alliances, but it's just simple to say that people can't pay for this shit. Trump is chickening out and it's costing the American people over and over and over. It's not leadership. It's kind of just improv. It's like improvisation on a global scale. And I know if I check Twitter, everyone's going to be saying it's 4D chess, but the 4D chess is absolutely incoherent. News that President Trump's tariffs were off, then back on, rippled on Thursday through 2 California ports that are the busiest in the nation, where tens of thousands of dock workers, truck drivers, and others were working to busily unload containers, and it was sent into a frenzy. And now this dude has the goal to post on Truth Social, quote unquote, 2 weeks ago, China was in grave economic danger. Very high tariffs. The very high tariffs I set made it virtually impossible for China to trade into the United States marketplace, which is by far #1 in the world. We went, in effect, cold turkey with China, and it was devastating for them. Many factories closed, and there was, to put it mildly, civil unrest. I saw what was happening and didn't like it. For them, not for us. Bro's claiming that he stepped in to save China only a few days after he claimed that he stepped in to save Russia. It's absolutely absurd. He then says, I made a fast deal with China in order to save them from what I thought was going to be a very bad situation. This dude is melting down over China, and this really exposes how deluded he is. Trump wants you to believe he single-handedly brought China to its knee with his tariffs, when in reality, China's economy has been slowing for years, and there's no economic collapse going on. He said, I made a fast deal with China because I didn't want to see this happening. Because of this deal, everything quickly stabilized, and China got back to business as usual. So this dude is just writing fan fiction now? Everybody was happy. That is the good news. The bad news is that China, perhaps not surprisingly to some, has totally violated its agreement. I don't even know, Trump, nowhere in that mentions the real story. The real story is that Trump placed 145% tariffs on China, and then China placed retaliatory tariffs, and his reckless policy got him in such a hole, he's backing out and claiming that China violated things. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer. You guys remember Jamieson Greer? He's the guy who keeps getting caught in meetings, not even knowing what's going on. U.S. Trade Rep Jamieson Greer, in a CNBC interview Friday morning, echoed Trump's allegation, saying, we're very concerned with China's non-compliance with the temporary trade deal. The eternal victim administration continues. CNBC has requested comment from China's embassy in Washington, D.C. The U.S. and China on May 12th agreed to a 90-day suspension on most tariffs. It's just absolutely wild. And as this is happening, Trump is currently holding a press conference with Elon Musk that we'll return to in just 1 second. But to continue, he ends it off by saying, so much for being Mr. Nice Guy. You want to know the problem with this is, number one, Trump is a chicken. He's not a nice guy. He's a chicken. Number two, when he came into office, he took the most extreme policies possible. What do you mean, Mr. Nice Guy? He's now saying all of this is just fan fiction. Trump should write a novel. If he wants to write novels about him saving China and stepping in and saving Russia, please just do that. But don't write it in foreign policy and use it as a press release. But being Mr. Nice Guy would be you calling our allies and trying to cut a deal. This dude nuked one of our deals with South Korea that Obama negotiated. It was a free trade deal. One more time. Obama negotiated a free trade agreement with South Korea where we had essentially zero tariffs. Trump got into office, ripped that trade deal up, and then renegotiated a deal that was exactly the same, but just stamped his name on it. But he didn't actually ratify it through Congress. So in 4 years, South Korea is going to be like, what the fuck? Whatever administration's next, they're going to want another deal. Obama's was actually ratified through Congress. So when you say so much for being Mr. Nice Guy, he's actually just admitting that he's an idiot. This isn't embarrassing. It's dangerous. And he's injecting chaos into the political markets, into our alliances. And the takeaway here isn't that China betrayed us, it's that Trump doesn't understand how trade works. He treats global supply chains like it's a casino, and he's gambling things. Like, he is actually, because he bankrupted 6 casinos. That's the perfect analogy. And, that's all I have to say on that topic. I think that next, we're going to dig back in and check out what Elon Musk is currently doing with DOGE.
Problem before the election, but this man thought it was the right thing to do, and he was well-meaning. I don't hold anything against him for that, but that was put on our plate when it should have been on the Democrats. September 28th, a famous date. It should have been taken care of by the Democrats, but this person, a man of power, gave it to us so that in June that comes due. Well, we have to take care of that, because if we don't take care of it, we have a country in default. And we don't ever want to have a country in default. I'll tell you, a certain senator, Elizabeth Warren, said that she would never, ever allow a default on our debt. She would never let it happen. And she would like to get rid of the debt ceiling, what's called the debt ceiling. I call it the debt extension because we really need an extension. That she'd like to see that gotten rid of. And there are many people that agree. Many Democrats agree with that. But we gave that through, and I don't want to say an error. He did it well-meaning. They gave that to us. It was a Democrat problem just before the election. Would have had a huge impact on the election. And to our benefit, we won anyway, but to our benefit. But felt that really for the good of the country, we should extend that. But Elizabeth Warren and various other people would like to see that. Her whole career, she wanted to see it terminated, gotten rid of, not being voted on every 5 years or 10 years. And the reason was because it's so catastrophic for our country. And I always agreed with her. That was one thing I agreed with her on. Now, I haven't spoken to her, but I would say that if you asked her that question now, she'd say, no, it's their problem. But it's a very unfortunate situation. It's a very unfair situation. And she happened to be right on that. It should be gotten rid of, or it should simply be extended. But that's one of the things that gets taken care of in this bill. That automatically gets extended for a 4-year period, and it should be. But I agree with Elizabeth Warren on that. I think you should get rid of it. It's too catastrophic. Yeah, please, go ahead.
What message do you like to send to international students? Are they still welcomed to study in the United States? And one question for Mr. Musk.
The students? Well, we want to have great students here. We just don't want students that are causing trouble. We want to have students. I want to have foreign students. I think Harvard...
How many of the international visa, like doctor and lawyer students, are causing trouble? Why does Trump speak like the average international student is like a gang member?
You know, it's close to 31%.
It all goes into demonizing immigrants.
That's a lot. Our country's given $5 billion plus to Harvard over a short period of time. Nobody knew that. We found that out. I wouldn't say that was a DOGE thing, but we found that out over a period of time. That was sort of a Trump thing. We ended up in litigation for other reasons because they're very anti-Semitic. And in finding out and in going through the books, we found out that the country gave them $5 billion plus, much more than that, actually. And we're having it out with them, and let's see what happens. I think we have a very good, well, it's a very sad case. It's a case we win. We can't lose that case because we have the right to make grants. We're not going to make any grants like that. But I don't think Harvard's been acting very nicely. I think Columbia wants to get to the bottom of the problem. They've acted very well. And there are other institutions, too, that are acting, but Harvard's trying to be a big shot. And all that happens is every 3 days we find another $100 million that was given. 2 days ago, we found $200 million more. The money's given to them like gravy. I'd like to see the money go to trade schools.
Nothing Trump is saying about any of these numbers has ever been proven. I've repeatedly revisited throughout the stream the article that shows and proves that the DOGE ledgers were completely filled with errors. So when they rattle off these hundreds of millions of dollars, it's just a lie.
Where people learn how to fix motors and engines, where people learn how to build rocket ships.
And again, he's not allowing Elon Musk to talk. I want to keep revisiting that theme. Do you guys remember a few minutes ago, Elon Musk still has a black eye, and Trump is basically putting him in like the cuck chair corner. Like, please don't speak, just stand there.
And we're having it out with them, and let's see what happens. I think we have a very good, well, it's a very sad case. It's a case we win. We can't lose that case because we have the right to make grants. We're not going to make any grants like that. But I don't think Harvard's been acting very nicely. I think Columbia wants to get to the bottom of the problem. They've acted very well. And there are other institutions, too, that are acting, but Harvard's trying to be a big shot. And all that happens is every 3 days we find another $100 million.
Why does Elon have a black eye? Don't ask. Don't ask that question.
That was given. 2 days ago, we found $200 million more. The money's given to them like gravy. I'd like to see the money go to trade schools, where people learn how to fix motors and engines, where people learn how to build rocket ships. Because, you know, somebody has to build those rocket ships.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see trade schools set up, because you could take $5 billion plus hundreds of billions more, which is what's spent.
Absolutely.
And you could have the greatest trade school system anywhere in the world. And that's what we need to build his rockets and robots and things that he's doing, and to build lots of other things. And, you know, I went to school with people. In some cases, they weren't good students, but they could fix the engine of a car better than anybody I've ever seen. They could take it apart blindfolded. They had an ability at that. And they did very well. They made a lot of money. You know, it's a very skilled job. It's great. But I'd like to see a lot of money going into trade schools. I've always felt that. And we probably found our pot of gold, and that's what's been wasted. at places like Harvard. And the money's been wasted. Yeah, please.
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask quickly, Mr. Musk, is your eye okay? What happened to your eye? I noticed there's a bruise there.
Well, it wasn't. I wasn't anywhere near France, so. But
What does that mean?
no,
I didn't notice his eye.
First lady of France.
getting slapped.
I didn't notice.
He had that
So,
ready. He had that joke
yeah,
ready.
no, I was just wasn't around with Lil X, and I said, "Go ahead, punch me in the face," and he did. Turns out, even a 5-year-old punching you in the face actually does.
That was X that did that?
Yeah,
X could do it. If you knew X, you
I
could
saw
do
his
it.
mom right now.
Mr.
But I didn't really feel.
I am not buying that whatsoever. There's no shot. I don't buy it.
Yeah.
Elon Musk is currently standing in the Oval Office with Donald Trump. He has a black eye on his right eye for some reason. We didn't know if anybody was going to ask him about it, but then one reporter throws the question out. Now, keep in mind, this was only a few days after Elon Musk called out Donald Trump's big ugly bill as being big and ugly and costly. So I'm not throwing any accusations out. I'm just asking questions here.
Well, I wanted to ask quickly, Mr. Musk, is your eye okay? What happened to your eye? I noticed there's a bruise there.
Well, it wasn't. I wasn't anywhere near France, so. But
He's making a joke about Macron. Anywhere near France.
What does that mean?
I didn't notice his eye.
First lady of France.
getting slapped.
I didn't notice his
So, yeah, no, I was just wasn't around with Lil X, and I said, "Go ahead, punch me in the face," and he did. Turns out, even a 5-year-old punching you in the face actually does.
That was X that did it? X could do it. If you knew X, you
I
could
saw
do
his
it.
mom right now. But I didn't really feel much at the time, and then I guess it bruises up. But I just wasn't around with the kids.
I didn't
basically.
notice it, actually.
That is such a lie. Yes or no? Do you guys believe that? If I had a friend, like if I was going out with a girl and she was like, yeah, like my little niece punched me or whatever, I'd be like, are you okay? Is everything okay? Like I would not believe that whatsoever. Or if it was a guy, I wouldn't believe that story whatsoever. Meanwhile, Trump is verbally abusing, not directly, but throughout this, Trump basically locks him out and doesn't let him speak. Elon Musk is currently
Your eye, I noticed there's a
absolutely wild, wild stuff. To continue.
Look at this. Do you look at this and see Putin as the good guy or the bad? Do you look at this and see Putin as the good guy or the bad guy?
Does Trump see Putin as the good guy or the bad guy? I think Trump doesn't understand the agency Putin has over the situation because Trump doesn't understand the situation. Now, we're going to watch this full clip, but this is an argument I've been having with the audience a lot. And you guys have won me over a bit, but I'm not ceding the ground fully. We've talked about whether Trump was a Russian asset in the sense that he's being paid by Putin, or whether he's such a malignant narcissist that he just thinks Putin is his friend and thinks that he can trick Putin or build a relationship with Putin. Now, let me know which one you guys think it is, the first or the second. I've always thought Trump was just a malignant narcissist, but you guys won me over. I got an interesting email. Someone said, just because he's a malignant narcissist doesn't mean he can't also be an asset. Russia can be leveraging the fact that he's a malignant narcissist to turn him into an asset long term. They don't have to be sending him ACH wire transfer payments. That is a conspiracy theory. But what Russia does is they groom him. Literally, they groom him into thinking that Putin is the good guy in this war. And Trump has such a shallow understanding of the conflict that he thinks Putin actually doesn't have that much agency.
Do you look at this and see Putin as the good guy or the bad guy?
So I've known him very well, and I went through a lot of things with him because Russia was, the Russia hoax turned out to be a total hoax.
Trump is under the impression that he went through something with Putin, that him and Putin have a trauma bond. The Russia hoax trauma bonded them so much that Putin should do him a favor. That actually backs up what I'm saying. Trump isn't playing some Machiavellian game here. He's just being an idiot and saying, Putin and I went through something. That is him giving the tell. He thinks him and Putin have a special, unique relationship because he's a malignant narcissist.
Or the bad guy?
So I've known him very well, and I went through a lot of things with him because Russia was, the Russia hoax turned out to be a total hoax. New York Times, they got a Pulitzer Prize. I have to give back the Pulitzer Prize. That's my lawsuit. And they're doing very poorly in that lawsuit. But, they wrote stories about how it was true and it was false. And, a lot of Washington Post also. I have gotten to see things that I was very surprised at. Rockets being shot into cities like Kiev.
That was surprising. Rockets getting shot into Kyiv is surprising. That's how you know Trump has not been reading his briefings, as many reports said. You guys read this report, right? Trump was only sat for 12 daily intelligence briefings since taking office. The scarcity of President Trump's daily briefings comes as he pursues high-stakes diplomacy with America's friends and foes. So as he's doing high-stakes negotiation with Vladimir Putin, he doesn't even know what's going on in the world. He doesn't know what Putin is doing. You can't negotiate if you don't know your enemy, if you don't know your own position, if you don't know the history of any of this. So this dude is skipping his daily intelligence briefings and then is surprised when Russia strikes Ukraine.
I have gotten to see things that I was very surprised at. Rockets being shot into cities like Kiev during a negotiation that I felt was maybe very close to ending. We were going to solve a problem, and then all of a sudden rockets got shot into a couple of cities. And
there's more to this clip, but do you want to know why Vladimir Putin continues to stretch out the war? It's because the Trump admin told Putin to do that. Not explicitly, but they implicitly signaled to Putin that if he stretches the war out longer and longer, he will win. Both Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance and Donald Trump have all said something to the effect of, if this war doesn't end soon, the U.S. is just going to have to back off and be done with it. We're going to be done with the war if you guys don't stop it soon. What that signals to Vladimir Putin is that if he just continues to stretch the war out and continue to throw his people in the meat grinder, then the U.S. will stop backing Ukraine and that he gets a win. You guys get what I'm saying there, right?
People died. I saw things that I was surprised at. So, and I don't like being surprised. So I'm very disappointed in that way. With that being said, I'd like to see it end. 5,000 people, I think the number's even more than that, but 5,000 people a week are being killed. Mostly soldiers, but also people that live in little cities and towns throughout Ukraine. And I'd like to see that stop.
You'd like to see it stop. This is the problem. Trump uses stronger language when he's talking to Zelensky in the Oval Office about what he's wearing than when he's talking to Vladimir Putin about, murdering people. We need actual, real diplomacy and policy, not theatrics. Trump repeatedly, over and over, falls for Putin's tricks, and I'm over it. You know what's surprising to me? Peter Doocy sometimes does ask good questions wrapped in sarcasm.
Do you look at this and see Putin as the good guy or the bad guy?
So I've known him very well.
We really don't know if he sees Putin as the good guy or the bad guy. And here's Elon Musk talking about drugs. Sorry, cut that. And here is Elon Musk talking about criminals in the United States while he's sitting next to one.
I think the fundamental moral flaw of the left is empathy for the criminals and not empathy for the victims. Empathy for the criminals, but not empathy for the victims. And there's been way too much of that. That needs to stop. To the president.
That is the entire Trump administration summed up in one line. People have empathy for Elon Musk and Donald Trump as they strip Medicaid away from the most vulnerable Americans. What he's referencing right now, basically, is like probably George Floyd. George Floyd was the victim in the situation. Elon Musk is standing next to a criminal. He's a criminal himself, and he's referring to Democrats applying empathy to situations like Black Lives Matter or other situations. So when somebody commits a crime, for example, and Elon Musk then labels them a criminal over and over, and the Democrat says, hey, this person should have due process without being murdered on the streets like George Floyd or deported like Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia, he says that is too much empathy. It also applies to Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia. When he references us having empathy for Kilmar, it's because we want him to have due process. It's insane. And also, you know what's really funny about this? You want to talk about having empathy for the criminal. Trump is the one who has way too much empathy for Vladimir Putin. Meanwhile, the victim, Ukraine, they're not giving any empathy to. That perfectly loops back conceptually to what they were just saying in that last clip. If you want to refer to having too much empathy for one side and not having enough empathy for the other side. It's absolutely wild to me that Elon Musk says this.
I think the fundamental moral flaw of the left is empathy for the criminals and not empathy for the victims. Empathy for the criminals, but not empathy for the victims. And there's been way too much of that.
He is just inversing reality right here. Absolutely inversing reality and hiding the black eye from his camera. I think I'm going to leave it at that. If you appreciate the work that I do, if you appreciate the work that we all do on a day-to-day basis, make sure you drop a like and subscribe. While you guys are here, I'm going to make a soft announcement that we're going to be launching a Gen Z based media company where you can watch it if you're any age, but it's going to be Gen Z hosts funneling throughout the day. So we have the relentless output and volume to match MAGA media. Now, right-wingers won the last election a lot because of their media, because of the volume that they put out. So we're going to be here to pounce on every single lie told by Elon, Caroline, Trump, and I want you guys to be there with me. So I love you all.